We have to start with Biden because this was not going to be our lead today, but this Guardian article is so juicy, we got to do it. So the Guardian got his hands on this new book. It just hit, shortly before we came out. And the new book takes a deep dive into what Joe Biden was like prior to his debate disaster and then thereafter. The name of the book, Uncharted, by some guy named Whipple, last name Whipple, Chris Whipple. He's a reporter. Okay, so Ron Klain is no underling. He's not like some no-name staffer. He was the chief of staff from 2021 to 2023 and then returned last June, again, not even a year ago, to run debate prep. So very clearly on the innermost Biden circle and somebody who they trusted. And I'll just give you the third paragraph of the Guardian piece. According to Klain, as reported by this book, Uncharted, it turned out Biden, quote, did not know what Trump had been saying and could not grasp what the back and forth was, left preparation for the debate and fell asleep instead by the pool, obsessed about foreign leaders, saying, quote, these guys say I'm doing a great job as president, so I must be a great president, end quote, has the ring of truth, quote, didn't really understand what his argument even was on inflation and had nothing to say about a second term other than finish the job and get off my damn lawn. Those two things were, no, I added the second one. And there's so many other juicy quotes in here. We'll go through it. But can I just get your initial reaction to Ron Klain laying it all out there, or at least most of it out there, to this reporter for his book? Anyone?
Ron Klain is one of the biggest modern villains in American politics, and this just underscores his absolute duplicity. He was described in a lot of reporting. Wall Street Journal was probably the best on this before it was popular to talk about Biden's, not just his cognitive decline, but the shrink wrap, the bubble wrap, Operation Bubble Wrap. It was literally called. To protect him from, having meetings with anybody. Ron Klain was the lead of that. He was described as having more power as a chief of staff than just about any modern chief of staff. He would run interference anytime someone dared suggest that Biden had any cognitive problems. And he was still saying this in August last year. He was complaining that they've been forced out Biden in August of last year and saying that he was fit and sharp and all of this. So I enjoy him attempting to salvage what remains of his reputation, but he's a bad person.
I'm reminded of the Biden quote. The only Biden quote I really like, good luck in your senior year. That's what I have to say to Ron Klain. It's a great quote. I don't know where it comes from. The inanity of it really works, though. Go ahead, Kmele.
I don't know if I'm being like more fair to him or anything like that, but I do want to try to say like the best case scenario here, and it does seem binary. It's either he's being aggressively duplicitous here or he's a total moron. Like the fact that all of us from so far away could like see Joe Biden's decline in real time and note it regularly. And that these people, like the best explanation for the best accounting of their behavior and their, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, it was so terrible, is that they just didn't see what was going on. They were oblivious to the fact that this man didn't know where he was most of the time. And here, at least, he seems to be admitting, like, we're doing debate prep and the president can't keep up. After 45 minutes, he didn't seem to know where he was or what he was talking about. He couldn't understand that when he looked into the camera in a kind of confused way, that wouldn't suggest to people, wow, Donald Trump is saying crazy things. It would suggest to people that this guy really has no idea what planet he's on. And it was, this should have been a 5-alarm fire for them in real time. They shouldn't have let him run at all, but certainly while you're in debate prep, even before it airs, you should be calling every single high-profile Democrat leaking this story to every member of the press you can, so that you can try to replace this guy on the ticket. And they did not do those things in real time. They are waiting till now, and that's the part that makes it all look so kind of gross and slimy. Also interesting that, where is Joe Biden? It's not unusual for presidents to go dark after the inauguration.
He went to see a play.
Barack Obama, you kind of did see him around in 2017. He may not have been giving grand statements. Joe Biden is gone. They've disappeared him. It's nuts.
He might be on the International Space Station. Elon might have been responsible
maybe
for
in
the
El
swisheroo.
Salvador. I don't know.
He might be in El Salvador.
Moynihan. He had the wrong tattoo and he got picked up. No, I loved.
Oh my God!
I'm not in a
What
gang.
about poor
Wait, I am in a
Linda?
gang.
My mom. Yeah, I told the audience my mom got a tattoo when she turned 70. It's a rosary on her foot. Is she almost out of here?
Oh my
Is that what's
God.
happening?
I saw your mother and I was like, who's that elder stateswoman of the Venezuelan gang scene?
And she doesn't wear Michael Jordan gear, but she did go to a garage sale once and come home wearing a FUBU sweatshirt. You know,
Oh, that's great. Or us Irish, by us Irish.
It's a black thing.
Is amazing.
Not for elderly
Are there
suburban white
photos?
grandmas.
Are there photos of this, Megyn?
Oh my God!
I
If you
could probably
want
get
to
my hands on a
remain
photo.
in the news cycle, Megyn, that Matt is saying you're all over, just come next episode all FUBU gear. You're like, hey
What
man,
you're saying is my mom is on the next plane to El Salvador. Okay?
of course, that's the important thing. We love you. We love you, Mrs.
So we
Kelly,
know.
but please
I mean,
be careful.
Mistakes are going to happen. Like, net, it's still worth it.
I loved,
Moynihan.
by the way, on this, I saw some, Ron Klain, no one was closer to Biden, so therefore these stories have a lot of credibility. There's no one who's further from Biden than me, and I knew this for 4.5 years. And if you went back, because we've been doing it for 9 years, if you went back to us in 2020, I guarantee you, there was some conversation about Joe Biden being too old. I was on Bill Maher show in 2022, and I remember talking about this, that the majority of Democrats that thought he shouldn't run again. Why? Because they thought, he wasn't liberal enough or something? No, it's because he thought he was too old. All of this stuff is just confirming things that everyone has known. And by the way, there's one great thing, is these quotes in there, where the cadence of a quote makes all the difference. Like there was a quote in there, if Donald Trump said it, it would be the most Trumpy thing, where he's like, I'm the best president. All the people in Europe say it. I'm the best. They all know me, but I must be the best. If Trump says it, you start laughing. If Biden says it, you're like, oh my God, he's going to wander into traffic soon if we don't. Like, it's a crazy person quote. And Trump wants to destroy NATO, more or less. Joe Biden thinks he's the president of NATO.
No, literally. Okay, let's
NATO.
get to that. No, he's not
Amazing.
joking. That's not an exaggeration for a fact.
No.
Okay, let's keep going through the article. Okay, because my hat is off to you, reporter Chris Whipple. You did a great job.
Yes.
I can't wait to read your book. Okay, here's more. As described by Klain to Chris Whipple, at one point, again, I'm quoting you from the Guardian piece, at one point, Biden had an idea. If he looked perplexed when Trump talked, voters would understand that Trump was an idiot. Klain allegedly replied to Joe Biden, sir, when you look perplexed, people just think you're perplexed. And this is our problem in this race. Now, who knows whether that's true? I've got questions whether he really said that to Joe Biden. Okay, there's more. Okay. The Whipple told Politico last week in an interview about his book, I happen to think that to call it a cover-up is simplistic. I think it was stranger and way more troubling than that. Biden's inner circle, his closest advisors, many of them, were in the fog of delusion and denial. They believed what they wanted to believe. They go on to talk about how even after the disastrous debate, according to Klain, to Whipple, Klain believed Biden should stay in the race, and then after he quit, that he should have stayed in the race. And they talk about, okay, this is the juicy part, the prep for the debate. At his first meeting with Biden in Aspen Lodge, the president's cabin, according to Whipple, Klain was startled. He had never seen him so exhausted and out of it. Biden was unaware of what was happening in his own campaign. Unaware. Halfway through the session, the president excused himself and went off to sit by the pool.
Right. Gold.
That evening, Biden met again with Klain and his team. Biden aides Mike Donilon, Steve Ricchetti, and Bruce Reed. We sat around the table, said Klain. Biden had answers on cards, and he was just extremely exhausted. And I was struck by how out of touch with American politics he was. So out of touch with American politics, the sitting president of the United States. He was just very, very focused on his interactions with NATO leaders. And here it is, Moynihan. Yeah. Klain, writes Whipple, quote, wondered half seriously if Biden thought he was president of NATO instead of the U.S. He just became very enraptured with being the head of NATO, he said. Oh my God. He thought he was the head of NATO and not the president of the United States. That's according to his chief of staff for 2 years who prepped him for the debate. That happened in June of this past year. We pulled a shot from Ron Klain from July 29th of this past year when he was on with that tough, I get to the bottom of all stories reporter, Kara Swisher. Watch.
Whether he was in good health or not, whether he was in good mental health. Obviously, top advisors got blamed for this, the preparation itself, and also not being transparent, that he wasn't able to campaign effectively. How do you answer those critics?
Well, look, what I say is look at what he did after the debate. I thought his speech in North Carolina the next morning was powerful and effective. He did an interview with George Stephanopoulos I thought was very good. He did a foreign policy press conference I thought was superb, a tour de force about foreign policy. He then went to Michigan and laid out an agenda for the first 100 days of his second term that I thought was a powerful agenda. Got a great response at the NAACP convention. And so I think the proof that he could campaign was that he did campaign and campaigned very effectively. The idea that somehow people weren't transparent about the state of his health or the state of his acuity, I think is belied by the fact that the president did events all the time. And you know, I understand there was a lot of viewership, but he went to the Roosevelt Room a couple times a week, would make a policy announcement, would take questions from the press corps.
Listen to that guy. The idea that people weren't transparent about his mental acuity is belied by his behavior. The same guy who just sat down with this reporter. And by the way, they sat down in September, according to The Guardian. He gave the interview in September. So that's him on July 29th. The idea that people covered up his poor mental acuity is a lie. You know, he did it's belied by the tour de force, he said he did after that debate. And literally within 2 months, he is admitting to Chris Whipple, we wondered half seriously if he thought he was president of NATO.
Guys,
Yeah,
can I retract my earlier statement? I mean, it's just duplicitous. That's just a liar.
And I love when it's like, is he president of NATO or president of the United States? It's like, he's neither, actually, is the answer to that question. But there is actually...
It's not a small deal. I mean, like, decisions were made from the White House, and we don't know who did them. And one of the decision makers was exactly Ron Klain.
Tariff wars, stubborn inflation. No wonder gold has been routinely hitting all-time highs. In volatile markets like the one we have now, don't sit on the sidelines with your head in the sand. You can take control and safeguard your savings. This is why so many Americans today are turning to Birch Gold Group. They have helped tens of thousands convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. Is it time for you to hedge against economic instability with gold? To learn how to own physical gold in a tax-sheltered account, text MK to 989898. Birch Gold will send you a free, no-obligation info kit. Again, text MK to the number 989898. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and countless 5-star reviews, Birch Gold has helped many protect their savings with gold. It took us decades to get into the tangled mess they're trying to unpack right now in D.C. How long will it take to get out of it, and at what cost? Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.